Okay, everybody, let's get started with the action and into the first point here. This is what's coming up here shortly is one thing we've been touching on a little bit, and that is the ability to go at the net person even from the backcourt and not just doing it on volley situations. And so here we have Barb just starting the point off with your basic cross-court ball. Net people have focus on each other, okay, and it's at this point Barb is able to step into the court. She eyeballs Andrea at the net, and even though Andrea's in pretty good position here, which she is, Barb hits a good pace ball up the line that she can't handle. So always keep in mind when you're inside the baseline and you know that you can get some pace on it, feel free to attack that net person more often. Okay, here's a good situation right here where Amy looks at the same situation with the net person, in this case Yolanda, who is right there in the back third of the service box. And so Amy goes at her, makes a really good play down to the feet. In most cases, I would say this is going to work in your favor. Unfortunately, it doesn't work in her favor here. And Yolanda's able to reflex a lob volley. Obviously, you know, that situation comes up 10 times. I don't see Yolanda hitting 10 winning volleys from her shoelaces. I don't think any of us are capable of doing that. So even when it doesn't work out in your favor, still a really solid play to use on the court. Okay, so here we have a good case. This time let's isolate Andrea at the net. Uh, Number one, positioning. When you want to be more aggressive at the net, try to position yourself a little bit more in the middle of the box, so thus you're closer to the middle of the court and you can get your racket on more balls. In this case, it still works out fine for her. And now she's eyeballing, okay, where do I go with this shot at this point? She's got a couple areas to go with. She can attack either up the middle or towards uh, Barb's side of the court. And she goes at Barb, works out fine. What a great play that was. Okay, whenever your partner gets pulled out wide on the serve, in this case, I think we all realize that the smart thing to do is to make a little shift into that center so that this net person, in Andrea's case here, she's looking at this big gap. If somehow she's able to get a racket on the ball, point's going to be over. Okay, so here we go. The ball goes cross court. And again, Amy's pulled Yolanda into the center. And so at this point, Amy and Andrea, a good thing to do is just, this is telling you where you could possibly play your next ball. And let's see what Amy does with this. And there's Yolanda again, taking a ball from her feet, making a great get. So now what's Amy looking at? She's again, she can see that middle. She can also, bring it across the net because she does have an angle to work with. Let's see what happens. And that was the third option. She goes back at Barb on the baseline. Let's see what Barb does. Okay, so here's the one right here. So again, she's got the two shots. She's got the middle and the angle, and I believe she goes at the angle. Well done, Amy. Good choice of shot. Love that stuff. Okay. Just as a reminder, you know, again, let's try to position ourselves in an area that would have more value overall, and that is closer to the center and probably back behind the service line. And here we have a situation where, again, we're looking at, we've got a strong ground stroke. Andrea is inside the baseline stepping into that shot. So why not why not go with that net person, which she does, and that works out very nicely for her. Okay, as far as responsibilities, let's key in on Yolanda right now, who's doing a great job of watching her partner back there. But as we talked about in previous times, let's make sure that's a quick glance instead of an extended look, because her focus really needs to be on these two people who are on the offensive, and because that'll pretty much determine where you need to be able to play defense off of Barb's ball. Again, Barb's off the court, and right now we have this big space in the middle that hopefully both Amy and Andrea are keyed in on. Let's see where this ball goes. Okay, so we're in Amy's position. She's got a couple of options. She can attack Yolanda. She can attack the middle, which is wide open. She can even bring it back over here, and let's see what Amy does with it. She goes back at Yolanda. Who does a great job of going back low down the center. That's just a really good play. I'd say the lesson to be learned from this is, going at the feet of people is really a good thing, but then again, they can stick their racket out and come up with something exceptional like Yolanda just did. If somehow we can take these balls and go into open areas on the court where nobody can get the racket on the ball, it's tough for them to get lucky if they can't get the racket on the ball, is the point. Okay, so let's move on forward. Okay, right now the point's fundamentally in a neutral position. Now Barb is able to take Amy or Andrea deep into the corner, and we have this big space. Hopefully this person, Yolanda, is seeing that, if she can get a racket on the ball. From Amy's perspective, is to have an awareness. That's where taking that quick glance over there will tell Amy to just position herself. Whoops, that's a boo-boo. More to the center of the court to close some of that gap off in the middle of the court. And good recovery from Andrea here. She's hit the ball cross court, and Barb shot. Let's see if it's in. A little bit out. Okay. So let's move on to our next point here. And let's see what we've got. Good move with Amy. I want you to look at this where Barb has been pushed back behind the baseline, but Amy has not made the mistake of getting on top of the net, because most players, especially, Barb being the good lobber that she is pretty adept at getting that ball up and over people at the net. In this case, she hits the ball short, and now let's see what goes on here. Okay, this is all positioning right now. When you're in Yolanda's position here, is to recognize that she's in the back third of the service box, and with Andrea's good topspin, what looks to be a poachable ball here, because we can see the ball up above the net. Unfortunately, with that topspin, you can see where that ball dips down, and so from Andrea's perspective here, eyeballing how that ball's dipping is a great time to move up on those situations where the ball's popped up pretty weakly. And in this case, it does come over weakly, and Amy, fortunately, is right there to take care of business. Let's go through the rest of the point here. Now we've got the two net people. She can go here, she can go there. Let's see where she goes. She tried to go through that open space and just missed it. Okay.